Hi there. In this video, I go over the watercolor that I am taking on a trip, my brushes, and how I filled up empty pans in order to create my own custom watercolor palette. So that way it will meet the exact needs that I want to have with me, while at the same time also adapting to the way I work with my watercolors. I am going to do is I'll show you the colors and I'll talk about the colors that I'm using. So I have ivory black, ultramarine blue, cobalt blue, perylene green, transparent red oxide, new gamboge, and quinacridone rose. This is my limited palette and with watercolor. This would not be my limited palette for oil paints, but quinacridone rose is a light fast red that is on it's a little bit on the blue spectrum, so it's a cool red, but it's a very, very powerful red. So this one is great. I'm pretty certain it's PV19. Yep, PV19 is the pigment. So new gamboge is a deep kind of orange yellow, so warm yellow. It is PY97. It's a convenience mixture with PY110 as well. And I'm using this one because it has a little bit more carrying power than, like, say, a Hansa yellow, but it is still a transparent versus an opaque, like a cadmium yellow. And with watercolors, I find that it is better to go with a transparent yellow. My transparent red oxide is going to be my orange, and transparent red oxide is PR101, and it gets along and mixes so well with all other colors on the palette that I am looking for it. Perylene green is a new color that I've just started using for green, and I really like it. It is PBK31, so it's actually a pigment black, but it comes out green in watercolor, and it works really great. And I stay away from the phthalo greens just because they tend to be a little bit too pigmentally intense and dominant, and they dominate my mixture so much. So that is a good combination. And then I always like to have two blues: an opaque blue, cobalt blue, and a transparent blue, ultramarine blue. And then I'm going to play with having ivory black as my other color. And the reason why is because ivory black mixed with yellow also makes a different green as well. So, and then my yellow and my cobalt blue and ultramarine blue will also make a variety of greens. So this gives me an opportunity to create a whole variety of greens and all the other colors I know I can mix with. So let me organize I'm going to have one mini half pan for the ivory black. I'm going to have two for my blues. Again, two for my blues. And this is because when I mix and paint with watercolor, I tend to get a little bit messy. And so with that, I'll have like a clean pan for like when my brush is purely pure and everything. And then I'll have a pan that's for when I dip my brush in, and it's already got other paint on it, so it will dirty the mixture. And so I'll have a clean and dirty yellow pan as well. And then I'm going to actually just assume one pan for the green, one pan for the transparent red oxide. And then for the red, I'll have a dirty and a clean as well. You can pre-buy your pans, but I have always loved making my own pans and then creating my own mixtures. You don't have to have a double pans if you are a clean watercolorist, and wash your brush out between all of your brush strokes. I know my system and I know my patterns, and this is one thing that I'm guilty of. When watercoloring, I get impatient. So instead of like fighting against how I work, I've developed a system that just kind of works with the way I work. And so for this trip, I'm not taking oils. I'm just taking water-based media. And that's just so for ease. So, and you can see I've reused these pans before, so I just wash out the pan. you can buy extra empty pans from Amazon, which is what I've done, and you buy like a bag of them. So I just dug up a whole bunch of my what I identify as cool yellows in my paint kit. And this is a lot of these tubes, these 3 tubes right here are tubes that I bought before I understood about the idea of fugitive pigments, whether or not they are light fast. I know that these from past learning, these are fugitive pigments. So I have these tubes, but I won't use them because as my watercolors age, they will lose their light fastness. The brightness of the yellow will go away, and fugitive colors no longer have a place on my palette. And then so now I have these 2 yellows to choose from. This is Hansa Yellow Light, which is my preference. It is a transparent, pale, cool yellow. This nickel titanate yellow is an excellent yellow, but it has opacity. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually instead of doing 2 tubes of Hansa Yellow, I'm going to do 1 of each, because there might be times when I'll need a pale yellow that has a little bit more opacity in its pigmentation when I'm painting on my trip. And so I'm going to keep those 2. This is an old tube, so some of the gum arabic has actually separated from the pigments. So I'm actually going to reconstitute that paint. So that way the consistency is the best that I want it to be. So I have the room for 1 more tube if I want. I'm going to leave this kit open so that way it can dry for the next 5 days. When I'm traveling, it will close up. I use travel brushes, and you'll notice that 3 of them are identical. These 3 are sable and squirrel mixtures. And then this is an Isabey travel brush that unfortunately is no longer manufactured. And this is an Escoda travel brush that's no longer manufactured either. And these 2 are 100% Kolinsky sable, and they're worn out. I've used them for years and years and years, but I'm still taking them with me. And they too, so they have to be wet so I don't damage them to go in. And there's a hole at the end so they can dry out while they're in transit. And so I'm going to take these 3 brushes with me, and I'm going to actually just do a quick demonstration with, let's see, cobalt blue. Let's do that. Cobalt blue is an opaque blue. Oops, a little bit stringy. That's okay. Okay, and to show kind of like the quality of, so this is going to give me a big fat. I will be able to use that for washes. It does not create a great point, but that's what my other brushes are for. But that's, so that is that brush. And then this is my medium brush so it creates, again, not a fantastic point, but that's okay. Maybe I don't have to be so precision oriented on this trip. I just want to create some beautiful watercolors, right? And so then this is the smaller one of that kit. And then I can, if I'm careful, but see, still doesn't make that. I mean, they do get better, smaller in size, so that's nice. And then this is my Isabey watercolor brush. 100% Kolinsky. I like using the natural fibers. They last, in my opinion, longer, and they hold. And this one, it's worn out, so it doesn't give me the greatest point as well. But it's okay. And then this is my little Escoda one. This one does not hold a ton of water, so it is a detail. Well, actually, they're decent. If I want it to have the point as best as I can, I shape it in my watercolor tube or puddle, and then I can get a look. I can get, that's my finest line brush. So those are my 3 brushes that I'm going to take with me, or my 5 brushes. So it's a set. And and then like also what I love about this little set is I can pull out the actual paint palette and essentially have another mixing section area, which I really like that capabilities. And so that is the set that I'm bringing with me. Okay, so one thing is like how do I put them away? When they're wet, you don't want to put them away when they're sopping wet. What I tend to do is I finger dry them. So I get rid of some of the water, shape them, and that just guarantees that they don't get like over worn out. And also, I'll show you a hack that I do. This is a washed out peanut butter container. It's plastic. It's the perfect size. It's got a lid. Granted, guys, it's not waterproof. So wherever you go, travel with it empty. And then I thought I would also show what's in because I will keep them all in my little pencil pouch. And what do I have in my pencil pouch that I'm traveling with? So I have, these watercolor brushes are going to go into my pencil pouch. And then I have a little eraser, a little 6-inch metal ruler that I like to travel with. And then I have HB lead for 0.3 and 0.5 mechanical pencils. So I've got a mechanical pencil that's got 0.5 and another mechanical pencil that's got 0.3 lead. I love drawing with mechanical pencils. My points are always good, and then I can always protect my leads by moving them back in. Sometimes I'll even have a 0.7 with me if I want fatter lines. Okay, then I always keep 4 quick, or actually I got 5 today. Okay, so I got 5 pencils, purple, blue, yellow, green, and red. And no need for orange because red and yellow makes a really good orange for most of my drawings. And, in truth, I probably don't need the purple. I can probably make the purple with the red and blue, but I have it. It's easy. A highlighter, and then this is a lead holder. I'm not going to bring my point sharpener with me because that thing spills graphite dust everywhere. So this point holder will get dull as the trip goes. And then I have my favorite Faber-Castell artist pens. And I love this kit because it's got a brush, a medium, a fine, and a super fine line. And so if I want to augment any of my drawings with lines, this is perfect for it. And so then that is what's in my pencil kit. And it all fits. Look at that. And so what's really nice is then I've got my water, and then that fits in like that. That's my kit. Feel free to send me an email with your questions. Thank you so much.